an update of the Municipal Building Review Task Force, and I guess I'll give you an update. Contrary to what you're hearing, I spoke to Mr. Sakosha the next day and verified, as I stated I would, if it was not available on the 21st, I would let everybody know. He is available on the 21st. He will be here on the 21st. Other than that, I have no update at this time. I'll have more information on the 21st. Next discussion by council vote other action on demonstration of new Clerkbase program. Yes, sir.
So we acquired a new program called Clerkbase. It is an easier way to see the agenda items and minutes. So I'm going to do just a presentation so everybody can understand how to reach that website. This is our homepage, the North Smithfield website. If you roll over to government, town council, where you used to see the agenda and minutes, click on the exact same spot. Rather than taking it to the Secretary of State's website, it now takes you over to Clerkbase. With Clerkbase, you can see council agendas are right here. This is tonight's agenda. If you look back at other older agendas, you can see that the links for the items discussed at the meeting are on there. So if you want to see animal control from last month, you just click on the link. If it wanted to work, it would pop up. This would be the report. Once you can see that there was only 2 meetings at this portion, if you click over to the town council minutes and go to a previous meeting where the minutes were approved, the links have now moved over to the minutes. So the packets will always be available once they're acted upon by the council. And also, this website will have ordinances and resolutions as they're passed as well. The other item that also goes with Clerkbase that I wanted to show is the boards and commissions that we have. If you were curious if there were any vacancies on any boards and commissions, or if somebody was about to expire, or what a term length was, if you click right on this link that does not want to work, it will bring up a new program that also says it's a list of every board and commission with their term dates, their history, and if any vacancies are up that you want to apply for, you can see them all right there.
Not being able to load up, is that just a function?
That's just here, yeah.
Possibly
Sometimes we had
because
issues
we're
here because I've never had an issue with them loading ever. So,
I think it's cool.
I like it.
The residents are people finding information. It's pretty natural. It's easy.
It is, and eventually, if the council wanted to, we could add video to it as well, with the video timestamped to, so if you were to click on an item, it would bounce right to that portion of the video versus having to watch an entire 3-hour video to find one item.
Nice.
I don't have that now before you because the company had said to get into the new building first rather than set it up here and then move it. But that's something in the future that can happen as well.
Okay.
Any comments from council people on this?
I just think it's great. Welcome to 2020.
Closer to it. Thank you. Next item, discussion by council vote other action. Mike Debroisse, Vice President, Board of Directors of High Rocks Condominiums, on obtaining trash collection for condominiums located at 1 Tupperware Drive. Mr. Debroisse.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to come back again and continue the conversation about getting trash collection at our condos, which has 128 property owners. Last time we spoke that I was able to come before the town was 2 months ago, and at that time went over a couple of things, and I'll just go over this again. Is, as you're aware, we're condos in North Smithfield, but we have to, you go through Blackstone in order to get to us. So with the taxes that we do provide to the town of North Smithfield, we get no trash collection. There's no street lights covered by the town. We cover those ourselves. There's no water, there's no sewer, there's no snow removal, there's no street sweeping. There's a lot that we give to the town, but we do get recycling, as we discussed before, and we have a handful of students that go to the town schools. So, as we asked before, and there was some discussion on this, and we're still asking now, is as we go forward, and even come July, going into the next contract, and I know that the town went and solicited bids for a new trash contract, that the High Rocks be granted trash collection just like any other condo project here in the town. And then also on the second part is that we start collection now. I hear of money being spent here and there, and last time I heard of money being spent on lawyers, and the one thing that we had discussed at the last meeting, which I still have not heard 2 months later, is somebody was supposed to reach out to Megger and find out how much the cost would be to go from now till July 1. And I don't know, but I do this for a living. It doesn't take me 2 months to get that answer. And so I don't know if someone already got it and was waiting to allow us to know what that is, but I have no idea what that cost would be, whether or not the town can absorb that cost.
I don't know the answer to that question right now. You would send me an email back in December to be on the agenda, we put you on the agenda. When I talked to the clerk, I had asked her to get updated information from the highway department and from the administrator, and I was told that you've been in contact with Mr. Pendergast.
The last time I was in contact, I've only been in contact with Mr. Pendergast last week.
Okay.
That's the only time in the 2 months. I sent an email back on November 30th to the town council with all the information, and still nobody's responded back with anything as to what the cost would be to put us into the trash service. It's a very easy question.
Well,
I could call it tomorrow.
I was getting to that. That in the conversation I had, that you had been in conversation with Mr. Pendergast, that we would have an answer on the 21st of July. That's of January. That's what I was told. So the next meeting, we will have an answer from Mr. Pendergast. I don't have an answer at this time.
All right, so come July 1. So let's look at July 1 first. Is the town council willing to take a vote that they're going to put us into the budget for come July 1 for a trash collection?
I can't answer that question. I've had nothing to do, we've had nothing to do with those bid specs. They haven't been presented to us yet. We haven't seen them. I'm sure that the administration and Mr. Pendergast are looking at them, but we haven't been given any recommendation on that.
So Megan contacted me through Mr. Pendergast asking for questions as to how we do our trash collection over there. So just from that, it sounds like there's some kind of communication with the present hauler to either keep that present hauler on, rework their contract as such. So if that's the case, then the town has the upper hand. If Megger wants the contract to go forward come July 1, this is very easy to say, well, if you want it, besides looking at whatever numbers, also throw High Rocks in there right now and eat the cost for it. You have the upper hand on the contract negotiations, which trash is not cheap, it's expensive, whether you're in a town or a city. So I still understand why it takes come January 21st, 3 months to get a quote of how much it would take for trash. Just seems like someone's dragging their feet to get that number.
Just telling you what, we haven't looked at it, we haven't been given any information. I was told 21st of January we would have that information. I don't want to put you on the spot, is there?
Priority with trash is negotiating a new contract for the future year. That is my top priority. And there are changes anticipated in that program. We are looking at automated pickup and purchasing bins. Those are our highest priorities to make sure that every person benefits from the right kind of service, that we pay a competitive price and come out at the end of the contract with the proper responsibility for the containers and so on. This will get dealt with in that process. It hasn't been. No one's dragging their feet.
Excuse me, I have a few questions. Every time someone buys a condo, whatever it is, they know what they're responsible for. Am I right? So you, people there bought our condos knowing that additional fees were there as far as trash pickup. Am I right?
There's no additional fees.
It's included in your...
There's an HOA and it's included into that.
All right.
Yes.
So that was known. And secondly, it would have been easier all the way around if you had been here during the last budget, so you're not taking a contingency fund, etc. That's number two. And number three, you know, I feel it's very important that everybody pays or should get what they should get. And I know from counting on different occasions, at least 1/4 of the people living in that condo, cars are not registered in the town of North Smithfield.
So we talked about this last time too, and
Yeah, to be honest, we're way off track. That's not the
Well, we're
agenda.
off track. I
What-
still
the
want it to
agenda-
be
The
met.
agenda item is trash pickup at High Rocks.
And-
That's the
and-
agenda item.
And I know, Councilman O'Hara, you don't have email, but it was addressed in the email that I sent on November 30th, that it was put into our handbook that was given out to all the residents about registering their cars. So we did take the information that the Vice President talked about at the last meeting, and we did do our best effort, put it into the handbook, and then sent it off to every resident inside our building. That's a whole different subject, but we did what was talked about at the last meeting. Now,
Makes me want that.
Yeah, it's certainly cooperating.
yeah,
You know.
so we've been cooperating. And again, you know, I'm glad that the town administrator is saying that it's being looked at for the next budget cycle. And that's great, as long as I want to make sure that it's 100% in it. We do pay, and I don't have an exact number, but my roundabout numbers is $550,000 in taxes. That's a lot of taxes just to get recycling and a handful of kids. And anybody can say yes. So we're paying more than our fair share to the town. Now, and all we're asking is, what's it going to cost right now? Is it if we budgeted $15,000 a year and we have less than 6 months left to go, there's $6,000 left to do? Is that something that Mega can eat for the rest of the contract? Has that been discussed with them? And I have no idea if it's just the DPW director that's handling that part, or if it's the town administrator.
I can't.
It's discouraging because last time I was here, it made it sound very positive with the town council and with the DPW director that it was going to be within a couple of days, just reach out to Mega, call them and say, if we have to go over there, I've said that I would take time out of work, meet them over there, show them what we do, and then they can go ahead and tell us what that price would be. And now I'm saying it's going to be a whole nother month before we have that number. I mean, that's just doesn't seem like that was what was promised 2 months ago.
My recollection is 2 months ago, it was stated that they were opening the bids up on waste collection. And in that bid opening was the addition of High Rocks, was in that new bid opening.
Yeah, but we also discussed,
In the new bid opening? Isn't that an alternate to the new bid?
yes, it is.
It's an alternate to the new bid.
Frankly, I don't remember exactly.
Which I don't have copies
of those, but, you know, as I said, we've been focused on the things that are most important to the entire town. We will get to this and have information back to the council, but it's not going to drive the contract. I'm not going to be putting an arm up on a contractor to do something, as Mr. Debroisse suggests, that benefits one group as opposed to negotiating the circumstance for the best outcome for the entire town, including potentially this group.
This group of 128 property owners, that's quite a bit of voters right there. So just do the right thing. It's $550,000 that we pay in taxes. It's not that hard to ask for a price from Mega to how much it would be, whether it's $5,000 or $6,000, then seeing if you have it in the contingency, it's not that hard to do. I find it discouraging that has not been followed up on.
To make it clear, we don't have it in a contingency. I made that clear to the council. I will strongly object to any increase in our budget based on the budget process that we have in place. This is not something we should be talking about in this fiscal year.
Mike, help me, just to round out a few edges I have going on. Centralized dumpster pens where the residents go and just drop their trash into a dumpster, correct?
Yeah.
You currently have a contractor picking this up once or twice, so how many times a week?
Three times a week.
3 times a week. I think you alluded to it, I may be wrong, but I think you alluded to possibly they could be asked to come in with a different contract. I don't know, I do not want to get involved in this because I don't have, let me rephrase that, I don't have the time to get involved in this. It's an operational procedure, and I'm sure Gary will get on top of it. I don't know what's going on with this, I don't know the bids, what has come in, because information is not trickling back. There are options, and if that can be happen where the contractor that's now working with you folks can come in and sharpen their pencil, who knows where this can go. But I want to kind of echo what Gary said. It's for the betterment of the entire town. I mean, we have to look at this whole list of the entire town. And but I have no problem extending trash pickup over there because you are paying taxes, you're residents. I think you raised your kids in this town, right? Then you moved in, you're empty nester sort of kind of, right?
Yes, but at the last meeting, Council President, it was discussed that a phone call would be made to Mega to find out what the cost would be to get High Rocks in from now, well, back then, 2 months ago till July 1. That was discussed and asked to be done. And then I had asked when the town council got it to make it available, and I was told yes, it would be made. But it's been 2 months and it hasn't been done. So let's say Mega said that it was 6,000. And you came back to us and said, well, we can't do it for you right now, but they said it would be 6,000. Maybe I would be looking at my budget and say, well, my contract is charging me 8,000. I'll pay the town just to go ahead and do it and save me 2,000. I'm saying me, 128 property owners. For the rest of it, I don't even have that option right now to look at what that is. So that's all we've been asking for 2 months now.
That's fair.
It is fair. I think it's fair. I don't have the right to call your contractor to ask, but I know it's not that hard to do.
I can understand the part that you're rectifying here is what you would pay was cheaper than what you're paying now for the rest of the year. Because I'll be honest, wholeheartedly, when budget comes up, I would support putting more on at that time.
Right, so I'd like to know what the cost is now, and as we get closer to the budget, we'll get to that part. But on the part when you had mentioned that we knew what we were getting into when we bought into High Rocks and all that, what wasn't to light at the time, and I've only been on the board for a year and a half, was that all the rest of the condo projects in the town get this service.
That was agreement when they were built in the type of buildings most of them have.
Right, and back when our developer built our development, he did a great job with it, was one of the carrots that he hung out to the planning board at the time to say, listen, we'll eat our own trash to help us out to get all this stuff. Now he's going off of that. So what we're saying is, all right, he made his money or lost his money from what he says. So now we're saying, okay, well, that was then, this is now. Things have changed. But again, so I'm glad that we're still looking at what's going on for the next ones. I have asked for copies of those contracts. I don't know if they've been made available, but they have not been released to me yet. I know that there's a 15-day turnaround on that stuff, and from the Freedom of Information Act, and that has not been made available for me to come in to pick up even by paper.
Have they been open? Have the bids been open? It's been open. We haven't received the Freedom of Information Act.
I sent a request to the town clerk.
What it's right.
Alright, so a lot of finger pointing. I did send it.
It was not recognized by my office as a Freedom of Information Act request.
It was just an email, it
just
wasn't
an
like
email.
our
It
official.
wasn't a Freedom of Information Act request.
On the website, it says you can do it by email, or you can fill out the form, and that's what I did, and the town clerk didn't come back and say that I needed to do it by the other form.
We get emails every day, Mr. Debroisse, as you well know.
Yes.
They're not distinguished from Freedom of Information Act, except for Freedom of Information Act requests being labeled as such. The email that I got was an email.
And if you look on the site, it says
Can
you
we
can
get it?
request the information
Now that we're
both
waiting, we'll get
ways.
it through.
We'll be getting it.
Now that we're doing it, you'll get it.
All right. Is it possible for the town council to ask through the town administrator, to have the DPW director find out what the cost would be from the present Walmart for collection from now till July 1?
It's in process.
Yeah,
We should have answers up by the 21st. That's what I was told, and just,
So it's the 21st of your next meeting?
21st,
Can I ask to be on the agenda on the
It'll be
21st?
on the agenda.
Do I need to send it out by email, or right now it's fine?
You're on the agenda.
Thank you very much, I appreciate your time.
Mike, I think the town will expedite this. I don't think
I
you have to wait
understand,
15 days.
believe me,
Mike, can you finish, please?
everybody
I
in
don't-
the town has been fine dealing with all this. I just get frustrated on how slow it takes, because I'm the opposite way. I don't know, maybe I'm wired different. I just get things done a lot quicker.
So what I was about to say, hopefully you won't have to wait 15 days for that copies. You should get it, whatever you see that's available. Should be by the end of this week. I'm assuming, I don't work in the town clerk's office or the
I
administrator's
understand,
office.
the town clerk's been very good.
Yeah.
I just thought that this would, when I looked on the agenda, on the website, it said I could do it both ways. Thank you very much for your time.